Hi, everybody. We're on week 2, and we're doing rational choice this week, along with your discussion point was on incarceration for mentally ill criminal offenders. We're going to be discussing rational choice right now, and just a little bit. I'm just going to touch on it a little bit. When we talk about the development of rational choice, it was with Cesar Beccario. He has such a hard name for me to say. But he had started 1738, his theory, 1738 to 1794 said that people choose their behavior, including criminal behavior, and people's choices are designed to bring them pleasure and less pain, reduce pain. Criminal choices can be controlled by fear of punishment. The more severe, certain, and swift the punishment, the greater its ability to control criminal behavior. And he says that punishment should be proportional to the seriousness of the crime. If not, people would commit more serious offenses. That's known as marginal deterrence. And when we look at that, we say, does it really deter people? If I'm going to tell you a crime is whatever, let's say if you steal an apple or you steal a bushel of apples, the punishment's going to be the same. Are you going to go for the bushel of apples because it's the same punishment? It says overly severe punishment causes more crime, and that's where that falls into it. And it also says that extreme harsh punishments of the day and routine use of torture were inappropriate during that time period. Well, you know how history kind of circles itself again? Well, we're talking about that now as well when we talk about Guantanamo Bay and we're talking about, you know, your Homeland Security. So it's come full circle again, the questions. Then we have the next theory that it went into was free will. The classical criminologist said that people have free will. So let's talk about free will. Let's talk about Lindsay Lohan. She's my favorite one to bring up on this. Lindsay Lohan was, born into parents who have addiction issues. They had alcohol and addiction issues. Lindsay knew this. So did her free will end after she had her first drink or she did her first drug? Or should she have free will it before saying, look, I know I've born into this family that has genetic disorders. I'm going to stay away from that. So when she did her first drink or she did her first alcohol, was free will thrown out the window? So free will is a question a lot of people have. A lot of my kids that I talk to in school, I work with kids that are have issues. And so when does your free will end? When does your ability to control your behavior end? And also it says that on classical criminology, the crime promises a huge payoff. I'm not sure I buy that because I'm thinking a lot of my people that I dealt with over time period, really all they could think about for the moment was getting that quick high. If I steal $70 worth of steaks and I get $20, I can go out and buy myself, um, a couple bags. You don't. I'm not sure that. I'm sure they think that there's a huge payoff, but there really is no huge payoff in a lot of crime. Um, Typical crime, not your white collar crime, not your green collar crime, which we are definitely going to be going over heavily in future chapters. And they say that people make choices based on perceived rewards and punishment. It says punishment also on the classical criminology says must be severe, certain, and swift. Let's talk about swift in the United States. There is nothing swift about the court system in the United States. In fact, it is so slow that sometimes you think it's non-existent. I can tell you that I had some cases that 8 years. Now, that doesn't mean if somebody's incarcerated while they're waiting to be answered to the charges that they won't go faster. But faster is not swift in our court system. Uh, some cases can take years. Homicides can take years. And that's with people being incarcerated. So we have, when they say that we need to have a swift and certain, penalty, there's no swift and certain penalty anywhere in the United States. There are certainly guidelines that they ask you to go by. And if you don't go by them, then they're appealed. But swift, not one of them. I also want to talk to you about norms and punishment. Who makes those norms? Who makes those punishments? It's you and I. I mean, my norms may be different than your norms. And so when we look at crime and we look at the reason why crime happens, is it a norm to live in a house that violence is a day-to-day life? Very much like the battle woman syndrome, it's a circle. It says unless you break that cycle, it just continues on and on. And so the norms are, if you're brought up in a house that has domestic violence, do you think that that is what the way it should be? So we have a lot of questions, and I think sometimes, we have a lot of theories, and it would be great if we had answers, but we don't always have answers. The new thought process on crime is that it's poverty and IQ, education, home life to be true causes of criminality. That's the new process thought. And I say to myself, what about those kids who come from those one parent households that do fabulous, or those kids that come from poverty that do fabulous? Are they the norm or the non-norm? Okay, lots of things to think about. I can't wait to read your papers. If you have any questions, you can always call me. It's 413-883-3537. Best of luck to all of you.